Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Friday, March 31st, 2023. Good morning. I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with Ring of Honor, which presented the Supercard of Honor Go Home show last night on Honor Club, featuring matches taped Wednesday night at the AEW Dynamite tapings in St. Louis's Chaifetz Arena. The show closed with a confrontation between ROH World Champion Claudio Castagnoli and Eddie Kingston, who is scheduled to challenge him for the belt tonight at Supercard of Honor. Castagnoli appeared immediately following Kingston's main event win over Christopher Daniels. Mark Briscoe spoke in a promo segment about his determination to win the ROH TV title from Samoa Joe at Supercard of Honor as a tribute to his late brother Jay, and was later confronted by Joe. AAA Mega Champion Hijo del Vikingo made his Ring of Honor debut on the show, pinning Blake Christian. Both the ROH Pure Champion and ROH Women's Champion retained their titles on the show. Pure Champ Wheeler Yuta successfully defended against Leon Ruffin. Following the match, there was a surprise appearance from Katsuyori Shibata, who was scheduled to challenge Yuta tonight. Athena successfully defended her women's title against Emi Sakura via submission. The champion continued her attack on Sakura after the match until Yuka Sasaki made the save. After the show, it was announced that Athena and Sasaki will face off for the title on Friday at Supercard of Honor. The show opener saw Aussie Open emerge victorious over the team of Ari Daivari and Tony Nese. In other results, La Faction Ingobernables and The Kingdom defeated Top Flight and the Lucha Brothers in an 8-man tag. The Embassy topped Dak Draper, J.D. Griffey, and Argan Singh. AR Fox and Metalik defeated the Infantry, and Miyu Yamashita went over Shaza McKenzie. Tony Khan spoke to the press yesterday on a media call pertaining to Supercard of Honor. During the call, Khan also addressed his ongoing difficulties related to CM Punk and how they've impacted his approach to dealing with talent.
And we're still growing and learning from things to this day. And I have great conversations every day that help me try to run the business better than the day before or the week before. And I think AEW is in a really strong place, and now ROH too.
On the subject of Ring of Honor, Khan indicated that since the relaunch of weekly ROH TV, the Honor Club streaming service has hit 15,000 weekly subscribers, the highest number ever for the platform, and also touted what he described as ROH's highest pay-per-view buy rates within the past year since his buyout of the company. With Supercard of Honor taking place in Los Angeles amidst a host of independent wrestling shows happening in and around the city for Wrestlemania Weekend, Khan also hinted that he would be scouting talent for potential future ROH acquisitions.
I am always scouting those shows and will be scouting in Los Angeles this weekend, other events, but have also watched a lot of these independent shows and international events throughout the year. And that's how we've been able to identify some of these great names.
In WWE news, WWE CEO Nick Khan appeared on CNBC's Closing Bell Overtime with Morgan Brennan yesterday, addressing a range of topics ahead of this weekend's WrestleMania, which he characterized as the kickoff for the company's new media rights negotiations. In addition to media rights negotiations, Khan also discussed the potential sale of WWE.
My colleague David Faber reporting earlier this week that it's been, quote, hot and heavy. Who's been bidding, and where are you in terms of that process?
I like the very direct question on that. Unfortunately, I can't answer the who has been bidding, but I can tell you it's been quite a robust response.
So when you say robust response, does that mean multiple bidders?
I don't want to comment on how many or how often or who's in or who's not in, but we're quite pleased with what the marketplace has told us.
Also addressed in the interview was Vince McMahon's level of involvement with the company following his return to an executive chairman position and how that might impact a potential sale.
I mean, there's still so much focus on him in the industry and this company. He's been slowly appearing at more events. There's reports circulating that he's going to be there in LA for WrestleMania this weekend. Has he been getting more involved in the creative process?
No is the answer to that. Vince has not interfered with creative. He certainly has thoughts, again, that we all try to tap into pretty often. But Triple H, real name Paul Levesque, is our head of creative. He remains our head of creative, and he's done a phenomenal job along with our creative team.
Additionally, Khan discussed the departure from the company last summer of Stephanie McMahon, indicating he would be open to having her return after a sale if the time was right, and also spoke about the recent rumors of WWE exploring the concept of legalized betting on match results, expressing regret that news of those preliminary discussions leaked to the public. In NXT news, WWE announced on Thursday that NXT Battleground will be the brand's next premium live event, taking place on Sunday, March 28th at the Tsongas Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. March 28th is the same date as AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view taking place in Las Vegas. The Tsongas Center last hosted WWE in 2016 for a house show event. Ring of Honor was the last company to run the building, holding Death Before Dishonor there last July, drawing an estimated 3,000-person crowd. Much of WWE's main roster will be in Saudi Arabia that weekend for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament in Jeddah on March 27th. In injury news, Don Callis was legitimately hurt during a backstage promo segment on last Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, according to a report from PW Insider. Callis was jumped by Jon Moxley as part of an angle, but reportedly lacerated his head accidentally when he fell into a lighting rig after taking a worked punch from Moxley. The bloodied Callis was attended to in the locker room by doctors following the incident and did not make his scheduled appearances during the Rampage tapings later in the evening, including Kenny Omega's IWGP US title defense against Jeff Cobb. Britt Baker addressed her lingering back injury during an interview with comicbook.com, explaining that the injury has worsened and has spread to her neck as well. Baker's injury was also discussed during Wednesday night's premiere episode of AEW All Access. Baker hasn't wrestled on TV since mid-February, although she did compete at the March 18th AEW House Show in Troy, Ohio, for the kickoff of the House Rules Tour. Big E is awaiting the results of upcoming tests in April to determine the status of his broken C1 vertebrae. Speaking yesterday in an interview on Busted Open Radio, Big E explained that the broken vertebrae have not yet properly ossified to the point where he could be cleared to wrestle again, although he did share that he is not in pain and the injury is no longer impacting his everyday life. Big E sustained cracked vertebrae in two places during a March 11th, 2022 match on SmackDown in which he was suplexed outside the ring by Ridge Holland. Taking a look at ratings, last Wednesday's AEW Dynamite drew its second lowest audience of the year as 833,000 viewers tuned into TBS, according to Showbuzz Daily. That's a nearly 13% drop from last week's audience of 954,000. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was .28, down from last week's .33 rating. The number equated to 365,000 viewers, down 69,000 from last week. The episode ranked number 4 for the evening in the key demo on cable TV, even from last week. AEW went head-to-head with the National Basketball Association game on ESPN between Dallas and Philadelphia, which finished third for the night and drew over 1.4 million viewers and a .44 in the 18 to 49 demo. Post Wrestling reports that in Canada, Dynamite averaged 184,700 English-language viewers on TSN2, with 110,900 of them in Canada's key 25 to 54-year-old demographic. It's the third consecutive week that Canadian viewership has averaged 158,000 overall viewers or more, as well as being the third week in a row doing 100,000 or more in the key demographic. The company's new reality show, AEW All Access, which aired immediately following Dynamite, finished with 328,000 viewers overall and a .11 in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic, placing it 30th for the night on cable. Impact Wrestling partnered with New Japan Pro Wrestling to present Multiverse United Only the Strong Survive last night from the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. Offered on pay-per-view through Fight TV, before the show it was announced that Impact World Champion Josh Alexander would be vacating the title on next Thursday's Impact on Access. Last week, Alexander revealed that he would require surgery for a triceps tear, ending his record title reign at 335 days. Steve Maclin and Kushida will wrestle for the vacant championship at Impact Rebellion coming up on April 16th in Toronto. The main event of the show saw New Japan superstar Hiroshi Tanahashi replacing an injured Will Ospreay come out victorious over Speedball Mike Bailey. Kenta retained the strong openweight championship, defeating Minoru Suzuki. Kushida defeated Leo Rush, who was substituting for the injured Josh Alexander, tapping him out with the hoverboard lock. The Bullet Club tandem of Ace Austin and Chris Bay retained the Impact World Tag Team titles in a four-way over the teams of Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, the Motor City Machine Guns, and TMDK's Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito. Deonna Purrazzo won a four-way over Masha Slamovich, Giselle Shaw, and Miyu Yamashita after pinning Shaw. As a result, Purrazzo now goes on to face Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title at Rebellion. Jeff Cobb defeated Moose in a singles match. Trey Miguel retained the X Division Championship, surviving a six-man scramble match, which also included Frankie Kazarian, Rich Swann, Kevin Knight, Clark Connors, and Rocky Romero. In an eight-man tag, Fred Rosser, Alex Coughlin, Sami Callihan, and PCO defeated Eddie Edwards, Joe Hendry, Filthy Tom Lawler, and JR Kratos, and on the pre-show, Yuya Uemura defeated Gabriel Kidd. GCW presented Josh Barnett's Bloodsport from the Ukrainian Cultural Center in Los Angeles and streamed on Fight Plus. Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kota Ibushi made his return to a canvas mat for the first time in 17 months, defeating Speedball Mike Bailey by TKO after delivering a Kamigoye knee strike. Ibushi, whose tumultuous time with New Japan Pro Wrestling came to an end on January 31st, has not wrestled since October 21st, 2021, when he injured his shoulder during the finals of the G1 Climax tournament against Kazuchika Okada. The main event of the show, which consisted entirely of shoot-style affairs, saw Timothy Thatcher upset Josh Barnett, forcing him to tap out after applying a knee bar. It's Barnett's first loss in 4 bouts on the show, which bears his name. AEW's Jon Moxley made his 5th appearance on a Bloodsport show, finishing New Japan's Alex Coughlin by putting him to sleep with a Darce choke. Johnny Bloodsport, one of the many pseudonyms of John Hennigan, made his Bloodsport debut, defeating Royce Isaacs by submission. In other results, Harry Bulldog Smith submitted JR Kratos with the LaBelle lock, Bad Dude Tito tapped out Yuya Uemura with an ankle lock, Marina Shafir submitted Killer Kelly with a triangle, Eric Hammer tapped Calvin Tankman with a shoulder crank, and in the opener, Jeff Cobb defeated Calder McCoy by TKO after a powerbomb. High Spots TV presented the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show from the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. Fresh off his appearance last week on AEW Dynamite, Hijo del Vikingo retained his AAA Mega Championship in the main event triple threat match, defeating Taurus and Commander, pinning Taurus after a springboard 630 moonsault. The penultimate bout saw the United Empire team of Jeff Cobb, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher defeat the team of the Motor City Machine Guns and Kushida. Also on the show, Shigehiro Irie defeated Speedball Mike Bailey by referee stoppage after elbow strikes. In a 10-woman tag match featuring members of the Tokyo Joshi Pro roster, Yuki Aino, Shoko Nakajima, Yuki Kemifuku, Mizuki, and Hyper Misao defeated Raku, Nao Kakuta, Miyu Watanabe, Rika Tatsumi, and Hikari Noah. Rey Horus, Aramis, and Galeno Del Mal defeated Aries, Laredo Kid, and Latigo in a trios tag match. Ultimo Guerrero defeated Negro Casas with the Dragon Sleeper. Kenta and Brian Keith defeated Filthy Tom Lawler and Christopher Daniels, who replaced an injured Josh Alexander in a tag team match where Ken Shamrock served as the special enforcer. And in the opener, Blake Christian defeated Michael Oku with a springboard 450. Taking a look at some of the highlights from around the rest of Los Angeles on an extremely busy start to Wrestlemania weekend, DDT Goes Hollywood was held at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. The main event of the show saw AEW's Konosuke Takeshita wrestle for the promotion where he got his start by defeating Yuki Ueno. Also on the show, Tetsuya Endo pinned Joey Janela after a shooting star press. Eddie Kingston teamed with his wrestling hero Jun Akiyama to defeat Daisuke Sasaki and Cannon. And in another tag team match, Kazusada Higuchi and Takeshi Masada defeated Andrew Everett and Nick Wayne. GCW's For the Culture show took place overnight at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. Brian Keith defeated Too Cold Scorpio, Trish Adora retained her Pan-African World Diaspora title over Calvin Tankman, Billy Dixon topped Willie Mack in an Anything Goes match, and Myron Reed won a three-way over Manlight DeReese and Kevin Knight. Earlier Thursday, during Santino Brothers Wrestling California Love Show at the Ukrainian Cultural Center, Che Cabrera defeated Willie Mack to retain the SBW title. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.